This episode of What the Tech is brought to you by Casper, an online retailer of premium mattresses for a fraction of the price, because everyone deserves a great night's sleep. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/Andrew and enter promo code Andrew at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
What the tech?
Hey, buddy, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Thurrott. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Still in your the OG setup, as I call it.
OG?
The original gangsta setup.
Oh, yeah. It's still. It probably hasn't changed much since last week. I've been kind of.
How's it going? Any updates to the studio? I see that you've been organizing a little bit behind you.
Little bit.
I see that that's a new desk.
Yep.
You got a new desk over there. Little by little, you'll get there.
Sure.
It'll get there. We're getting close to Christmas, guys, and it's close to the end of the year. So today is our very, very high in demand episode of What the Tech. We do three of these that are super high in demand. One is the one where I'm not talking, is just Paul. No, it's our best of the year, our worst of people love, and our end of the year prediction show that we do for the coming year. So we have these three shows coming up, unless something big happens. Obviously, if something big happens in tech, we'll talk about it. But that's what we're going to be. And this week, Paul and I talked throughout the week, and I asked Paul, "Do you want to start with the worst ofs or the best ofs?" He goes, "No.
Yep.
Let's keep the worst ofs for the end of the year." And I said,
let's go. I think I said, let's go out on a low note.
Let's go out in a low note. So today's going to be the best of tech, the best products, best things that we think happened this year in technology. And of course, we want the chat room. If you guys are watching live, we want you guys to participate in this because it's always fun when we hear your suggestions. There has been a suggestion. I got an email. I have to remind myself to talk about this when we're talking about set-top boxes. Okay. Because unanimously, I've been getting emails from not one person. Like, if it's like one person, you're like, okay, it's just got one guy's crazy, opinion on this. It's like 20 different people have the same exact opinion on this topic.
Why don't we just do this now? Well,
we'll go into that. But before we do that, we got to thank a sponsor, Paul.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We got to thank our sponsor, and that's Casper. Guys, we've been talking about them for a while. It's an amazing company. My wife's grandparents were over, and they just bought a new mattress. Unfortunately, it is not a Casper. It is a mattress that my brother actually works for. My brother works for a competing company, a mattress company that I'm not going to name. And they bought this mattress, and they're telling me how much they hated this mattress because it didn't work for them. They replaced their mattress after like 6-7 years. I literally started doing a live read for Casper in my bedroom,
right,
for just his grandparents, talking about how great their mattresses are. And how, it's here. It's a premium mattress. They used two technologies, latex and memory foam. They have a company, they're here in Manhattan. The thing comes in a box. So if you live in an apartment, if you live in a space that's going to be very difficult for you to bring a king size mattress up, no worries. Comes in a box. You open that thing up. It's actually amazing how it comes. One of the most comfortable beds I've ever slept on. And I'm not saying that because they are an advertiser of mine. Even if they weren't, I would be telling people this. And it's made here in the U.S. By the way, 100-day period where you could return this thing painlessly. You got 100 nights to sleep on this mattress. So for people I made a big mistake. I bought a very, very expensive mattress from, years ago when I hurt my back. And I was stuck with this mattress. I paid about $20-something hundred for this mattress. And I was stuck with it for years until I got Casper because they sent me one. And they're like, hey, listen, you got to use the product if you're talking about it. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's see how great this mattress is. First night I slept on it, it was perfect. So here's a great offer that they're doing. If you go to casper.com/Andrew, you get $50 off on any mattress purchase. That's casper.com/Andrew, or you could enter in promo code Andrew. Terms and conditions do apply. For details, go to casper.com/terms. I really want to thank these guys. They are a great group of people. I'm so happy to see them doing so well here, especially here in New York. You go in the subway, guys, you're seeing Casper ads everywhere. So when you see a company that has invested money in the little guys like me doing so well, it makes me really happy. Support these guys. Casper.com/Andrew. $50 off on any mattress. Great deal. Terms and conditions do apply, though. So, Paul.
Andrew, a couple things.
Yes, sir.
First of all, you're not a little guy. You're average sized.
I'm about 5'9.5", 5'10" maybe
go.
on a good day. I could use a half an inch,
That's all I got, really.
depending on the heels that I'm wearing. You know,
Yeah.
I sent Paul a message. This we'll get into the best of, but I am convinced we're gonna get a little conspiracy theory here. Okay, I'm convinced that Facebook is listening and
Oh, I saw
Google
that.
is listening to me when I'm having a conversation with somebody. I was sitting at the bar. I was at press. One of my friends was with me, and this guy is like a sharp dressed guy. He's always dressed. I mean, expensive suits, expensive shoes, and we started talking about Christian Louboutins. Do you know what those are, Paul? Louboutin shoes. Louboutins are like the hot deal right now because they're the red bottoms. A lot of women love Louboutins.
Okay.
I like the Louboutin shoes. They have a men's line of Louboutin shoes. They're very expensive though. It's like $1,200, for a pair of shoes, which is crazy. So we're having this conversation about Louboutins. I'm on the train going into the city. I'm scrolling through Facebook on my phone, and what do I see? Ads for Christian Louboutin shoes. I didn't Google Louboutin shoes. It just knew. How? If it's not listening, what are the odds that the following day
What are the odds?
that it just so happened?
Right.
It's listening. I'm convinced that they are listening to everything.
Right. That is a curious. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not
having
I'm
lived-
not accusing anybody of doing anything bad.
yeah.
This is just what I observed. It could have been a freak coincidence. By the way, viewer in the chat room, OJ was wearing Bruno Mali's.
Right. Right. By the way, that's the first thing I thought of too was OJ.
Yeah. I thought it was either it's a very bizarre. I mean, and that is a very specific shoe for men.
Yep.
A lot of men they're not even aware that Louboutins come from men. You could get them
Right.
for men. I didn't search it on Amazon. I didn't search it on a website. I was just having a conversation, and it was like a 10-minute conversation about shoes. And it knew. So that is my theory on this. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up on the show. If anybody cares. If anybody cares to buy me a pair of Christian Louboutins for Christmas. Let's talk about the best of 2015 because this is an interesting list. I added the stuff that I kind of knew that you wouldn't pick, and there's one thing on here that I'm shocked that you put. Shocked that you put this on your list. Shocked. I was not like electrified.
I don't know.
Let's. I'll go first. I'll go with my laptop pick of the year, and
Okay.
it is not going to be. This is probably the first time that we've done this where I have not picked a MacBook as my pick for a laptop. I'm going to go with the XPS 13, the Dell XPS 13, the revised version, the latest version of this.
Yep.
I spent about an hour with it a couple days ago in the Microsoft store, and I had spent some more time with it the prior week. I absolutely love this laptop. It's a little small, but the trackpad and the keyboard on this thing was probably the best out of any Windows-based, any PC-based laptop that I've used. I know we went into detail about this. I know you said it's a little small, and I initially didn't agree with you until I used it for about an hour in the Microsoft store. It is a little small.
Everyone is blown away by this laptop, and I'm actually not that impressed by it personally. But I recognize that I'm kind of in a weird minority there.
Okay.
I took it to France over the summer and ended up not reviewing it because the wireless was so bad. And that was a problem with the first gen version. I don't know if they fixed it for the one you're talking about. And over the weekend, I saw a Dell XPS 15, which I originally kind of thought of as a machine I might be interested in because I really like 15-inch screens on laptops. I like the idea of a 15-inch screen in a 14 or 13-inch form factor, but I actually thought it was pretty thick and thicker than some 15-inch Ultrabooks I'd seen. So that's a different machine, obviously, but. Go on.
Yeah,
I don't mean
it is
no.
It is a little thick. I don't know if they've updated this one yet, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've revised this one.
Well, the version you're talking, I mean, the one that's out now is new. I mean, it's obviously the same basic form factor. I think the big complaint about it that even people who like it would say is a problem is that the webcam is at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, and that's
so you get
the
that kind of
silly part.
up nose look.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, but
that would be.
But I know
my
why
pick.
you like it.
Why do I like it?
Because there are no bezels.
No bezel. You know what?
Or 3 or 4 of this.
You know what? Maybe I could take a little bezel. Maybe a little bit of a bezel I could accept.
Yeah.
No, it's actually a stunning piece of hardware, guys. If you have a chance to have some hands-on experience with the thing, it's really interesting and it's really nice. And I'm surprised that other manufacturers have not followed them this year. I could have swore that we would have gotten these bezel-less, really ultra thin Dell copies, and we haven't. I also had a chance to play around with like the top of the line LG and the top of the line Samsung, and the second I touched the trackpad on those things, I knew I wasn't even going to give it any more attention. But the XPS 13, great. That's my laptop.
I like the deck lid feel on that machine. There's some good stuff.
What would how about you? You go next. What's your
well,
one of your
I mean, I
favorites?
guess to keep it in the same category, I would just how did I describe it? Best PC overall, I guess, is the HP Spectre X360. And this one came out pretty early in the year, and then late in 2015, they released a second gen version of it, which I do not have. Although I played around with it, and there's a version that's got a kind of a stunning new color. It's kind of a dark brownish bronze kind of color with gold accents. Beautiful. But the thing about this computer is it's a 13-inch design. It's a full metal body. It's thin and light for what it is. The screen wraps all the way around. They did the hinge in such a way that it doesn't protrude or cause any issues out the back when you use it in different modes. It's obviously touch-based. Keyboard experience is excellent. The trackpad is awesome. Expandability is great. Battery life is great. It's not perfect. I mean, nothing's perfect. It doesn't have any. It still doesn't, even in the second gen version, have any kind of Windows Hello sign-in. So they don't have a Windows Hello camera. They don't have a fingerprint reader. I think that kind of thing would be a great addition.
Are you surprised at the fact that a lot of these updated and revised laptops that we saw in the year still don't support Windows Hello?
I would be, but actually I know the reason why they don't.
Okay, what is the reason?
Microsoft did not tell PC makers about this functionality until very late in the game. And actually, if you want a little conspiracy theory,
Oh, here we go.
I do find it interesting that all of Microsoft's Surface devices, the new ones, support Windows Hello right out of the box. But finding another computer that does out of the box, next to impossible. Microsoft told Microsoft about it, but they didn't tell the PC makers about it. And so I've heard this from multiple PC makers now. They didn't find out about Windows Hello until very, very late. And of course, some of them, all of them basically are actually Intel partners. So Intel had been selling them on the RealSense camera and the capabilities in the camera that would enable this kind of sign-on. But what Intel was selling them on was RealSense 3D off the back of the device, so you could do stuff in 3D space. And there's some sort of cool usages for cameras like that, but obviously compared to just signing in every day, which is a need, not as important. And so, I think people don't really have an appreciation for the timeline on what it takes to create a PC. And so in the spring, you'll see things announced at CES in a couple of weeks. We're going to get those Windows Hello devices out in the world. And I would expect also, third-party Windows Hello add-on peripherals, cameras, standalone fingerprint readers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at this the 360. It's a beautiful device.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I
And
like the gold version.
oh yes, yeah, it really is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this year is very interesting for computers because there's all kinds of different computers. Windows 10 came out, lots of great Windows 10 designs, different types of things. Surface Pro 4 is obviously very high quality. The Dell XPS you're talking about, obviously everyone really loves that, but it's hard to pick just one. But I think because of the reliability issues I saw with Surface Book in particular, but other people are also reporting with Surface Pro 4, you really can't pick one of those machines as best of the year. They're just too problematic, which is a shame because otherwise maybe Surface Book might have been up there.
I didn't. You know why I didn't put Surface Book? Because it wasn't around long enough.
Yeah,
and-
sure. Well, it
and
was
you're
around
right,
long
the
enough for me to take
reliability
it off the
issues.
list. I can tell you that.
You know what's funny? I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
That weird trackpad issue that I found on Mary Jo's Surface Book.
Yes.
I've seen it on 3 other ones, and you were right. It is when you bring over an account that was a desktop, that was on a desktop, or B on a laptop that was using a mouse. So if you
Lots of problems.
yeah, so it's not automatically setting it for like precision clicking because
Yeah.
it's it's relying on a mouse. But it's like a small little bug. So
Yep.
something I discovered with it. I actually really think that the Chromebook, wow.
Chromebook.
Let me tell you,
Yikes.
the Chromebook's the future, Paul.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is the
It
future
sure
that
is.
we're in. The Surface Book is a great device. It's just I'm hoping for the next generation of this thing to be what I want it to be.
The Surface Book has some compromises that ultimately I think kind of doom it, even when they do fix the problems. I think that weird gap that the thing doesn't close flat is just weird and is contrived. I think the fact that they had to have a touchscreen on a laptop for some reason, even though or a detachable screen rather, which really made that thing thick and top heavy, completely unnecessary. It was just kind of a design by committee decision kind of thing. Like we can't compete too closely with what our partners are doing. So here's a device that is just different, and it doesn't, not necessarily better, but just different. And I think some of that stuff was a bit of unclear thinking on their part. And I expect that stuff to be fixed over time, but it's a neat machine. I mean, I'll use it. I like it. It's a weird thing. For myself, but I have a hard time recommending it to others. Whereas the XP Spectre X360 starts fairly cheaply. You can get really high end versions if you want this stuff. Lots of RAM, lots of storage, whatever. The screen's beautiful, very versatile with the multi-mode use and all that stuff. So
The gap is a little weird, but I don't use it every day to feel it being like a make or break for me.
Right.
Is
And
it a
to
deal
be
breaker?
clear,
because I don't use
you
it
know-
every day, so I wouldn't be able to comment. But for you use that thing all the time, so it's a
I like
bigger
the big
issue.
screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the big screen, but I see lots of lots of reliability problems. I traveled with it a lot. I have because we kept missing shows and stuff. Lots and lots of travel from actually since the end of August until about a week ago, and I used the Surface Book for a lot of that stuff. And man, it worked. I was able to get stuff done, but boy, was it unreliable.
Tablet of the year. It was a slow year for the tablet. Every year we're talking every year the tablet. Nothing really changed this year. iPad Air.
Right. And by the way,
Yeah.
just in case it wasn't obvious, I actually did not pick a tablet. And the reason I didn't was because I don't feel there were any new pure tablets that warranted any mention at all.
We got the Air 2, right?
Yeah, but the Air 2 is a year old.
Is a year old. We got the iPad Pro.
Yeah, yep, which I don't feel warrants a mention at all.
I don't
No,
know.
I really don't. I'm not being
I agree
being a
with you.
jerk about it. It warrants no mention.
I just put the iPad Air 2 and I put the Amazon Fire 7-inch because of the price point.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I put it on there. It's $39 tablet.
Right. So I almost put the Amazon Fire HD 8 on there. I do own one. And the reason I didn't, I sort of like that they have gone back to basics at Amazon. You can get these things really cheaply. That Fire 7 that you're recommending, sadly, you can't even buy it right now, right? You're not gonna be able to get it until after Christmas. I do think that's their role, and I think they're smart to embrace it. Fire HD8, it's good. It's not great. It's low res. It's low powered. It's the performance isn't great. I think what it will be nice for are those cross country flights where I want to watch some movies and I'll throw them on there. I find the reading experience ultimately is better on an iPad Mini of whatever kind. I use an older iPad Mini too, but the resolution of the screen, the form factor of the screen, I think is just better for reading. The thinness of the device, the quality of the device, all that kind of stuff. It's expensive. I mean, I'm not going to recommend an iPad Mini 4. It's just an expensive small tablet. It's nothing special about it, but it made it hard for tablets. I just didn't see a tablet that made any sense.
How much is the iPad Air right now? Just the original Air.
Oh, the original is probably $399.
$399, $399 to start. I predict, if we're going to do our prediction, I'll do one prediction. I think what they're going to do, they're going to have the iPad Pro, the iPad Air, the iPad Original, which will be the iPad 2 body, and then they'll have the Mini, and then a Mini Air.
Yeah.
I think that'll be their lineup.
If I was going to do this over again, I would probably buy an iPad Mini 2. I hate to say that because it's probably so underpowered, but
that thing is still on the market. The iPad Mini 2.
I know, 32 gigs. I would not get the problem I have with the iPad stuff is that it's expensive. Obviously. Yeah. For my usage, this may be different for you. 16 gigs is not going to cut it.
No, and I thought it did for the longest time, but because these apps are now running at such, applications have totally changed. Games.
Right.
I have a 16 gig iPad Air, an iPad Air. I can't even use it.
No. They shouldn't even sell such a thing. For me, for an iPad, which is just a reading device, 16 gigs is actually fine for around the house. The issue is when I take it on the road, and I want it. 16 gigs. If I trim down the apps, if I cull the content from Kindle or whatever, I can fit one movie on there in SD only. That's all I can do. One movie, and that's not enough. I should be able to put a couple of movies on there, and
absolutely.
but that raises the price. So you're talking $320 for a 32 gig iPad Mini 2. This is a 2-year-old design, right? If you were to shop for a new iPad Mini, the iPad Mini 4, I'm just trying to step through here. $500 for the mid-level 64 gig version. $500.
So much money.
Yikes. I can't. I just can't.
I see the way that you could justify it. Redo the lineup. You have the Pro, you have an Air, you have an iPad Original, which is the iPad 2 body. Then you have the iPad Mini, and then the iPad Mini Air. That's all you do.
I think
and
the
forget
Air,
about these numbers. Kill the numbers.
I think the Air has been around long enough that by the next gen that you can forget the original iPad. Just iPad. It's just iPad Pro, iPad Air, iPad Mini. That should be
the 3.
They don't do things like that. They won't do that. They'll have 2 stages of iPad Air, older and newer. They'll have an older and newer iPad Mini. There's no doubt about it. And by next year, they'll have an older and a newer iPad Pro. I'm sure they will. That's how Apple does things. It's just the whole lot of it is too expensive.
Somebody changed their name in our chat to Gaps Rule, and
Gaps?
he's saying that I don't like the iPad Pro. It has no gap.
No gap.
He's a fan of the gap in the laptop. In the
gap.
The gap in between the Surface Book.
Oh.
He wants a gap in everything.
All right.
So my tablet picks: iPad Air 2,
Yeah.
Amazon Fire 7-inch, just because of the price. It could be a piece of crap in 3 months. I used it for about 15 minutes, but it is the one of the hottest selling items this holiday season. Phones.
Yep.
Going with the iPhone 6s, iPhone 6s Plus.
Yep.
Paul also has the 6s, 6s Plus. And I am also going to put the Samsung 6S, whatever they are calling the new 6S. You know what
Okay.
they did that weird thing, right? They had the 6S and then the 6S Edge, and then they released an updated version with a larger screen.
Which they call the Plus.
Is it called the Plus?
Yeah, right. So there's there's a Plus and a Note, right?
But it's like
That's
an
kind of
actual Plus.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
I like this phone. The problem is I went from a 5.5 inch phone to a 5.2 inch phone, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little too small.
Yep.
The Plus is the perfect size, and I'm also regretting that I didn't buy the Edge version of this.
Yeah, I think if I had gone Samsung, I would go. You'd have to go Edge. You have to. How could you not?
Yeah, I absolutely love this phone. I've had no problems with it, and I'm shocked. I'm really surprised because I've been an Android user for a long time, and
Right.
I had some battery life issues. The battery life was awful, but they've seemed to corrected that. I like the fact that it has. I love, I love how things are like justified as like a really good feature, right? Well, I'm like, it's a great feature. The fact that you could turn this thing into black and white mode and get like 4 hours of battery
Killer
life.
battery life.
Yeah, get like 4 hours of battery life with 1% left. Like that's a feature. No,
Yeah.
it's a Band-Aid over the fact that the battery sucks. But they've done over the last couple of months, they've updated this thing and the thing runs great. I think it's the best Android phone on the market right now.
Right.
I'm not a fan of the LGs. I've had an LG G2 and G3. Not a fan of them. The One Plus had such an opportunity to disrupt this market.
I can't tell you how many times I've stepped through purchasing a One Plus, and I just can't pull the trigger on it for a variety of reasons. A fingerprint reader is missing is a big one. It's not really a flagship. It's like
well, the OnePlus One had the potential, right? Because it was a nice design phone. It had like this matte finish on the back. It was like a canvas.
Yep.
And I really liked it. And where it fell apart for me was the camera. The camera was horrendous on the thing. It was ultra fast. They'd had
there's always something.
It had everything that you could want in a flagship, but the camera was crap. The OnePlus 2, they did a horrible job at marketing this thing. And again, it was too expensive. And then now they have the OnePlus X, which kind of looks like an iPhone. I feel like it was such a small company, they just couldn't keep it going. And for me, it was the biggest disappointment as far as somebody that could disrupt the market with a $400 phone.
They still could. They
still can. Yeah.
The thing is, selling direct to users is been done before, and their crazy lottery system, I think, has been a disaster and a mistake. In some ways, I feel like the ship has kind of sailed on OnePlus, but you never know.
You never know. I mean, they could maybe get their act together for the next version and figure something out.
Yeah, the Moto X is a fantastic phone, but they also do not have a fingerprint reader, which is inexcusable in 2015. The Lumia 950 and 950 XL are great phones for what they are, but nobody wants Windows Phone, so recommending such a thing is pointless. No, it just is. I mean, I use it, but even on the 950, going from a 5.5 inch screen down to this, you're like, it does seem kind of small. I sort of enjoyed the thinness and lightness of it, but the screen seems small.
What is that Motorola that you were walking around with the last time you came to New York and I was blown away by?
That's the Moto X.
The Moto X, the new one.
Back. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Beautiful display. Beautiful display. I was actually surprised how pretty it looked.
Yeah. I don't have one, but based on the camera and the overall experience that I have with the Nexus 5X, I suspect that the Nexus 6P is a great phone as well. I just don't have one.
Well, didn't they take the 6 off the store?
This is the 6P. This is the new one.
Oh, the new
metal
one.
body.
Oh, yeah.
Same camera as the 5X. Looks, it's I think it's 5.7 inch screen, I think.
Yeah. Let's see what else do we have here. Best wearable overall. Paul went with the Band 2.
Yeah, and I can't remember if I even wrote this one up yet. I have a couple of best of tech things in the works or that I've posted already. But this has been a big year for wearables, and I think wearables is sort of like home swaps. In that like we go to Home Swap every year, and people are interested in it. And then there are these people like, oh my God, I have to do this. And then there's people who are like, oh my God, I can't let anyone stay in my home. I could just never do it. And so, with wearables, I think people are very interested in this stuff, but there are the people who just don't see the utility of it. And then there are the people who are not listening and they're just forging ahead and buying and wearing them. And so obviously the two big platforms are Apple Watch and Android Wear. I have each. I actually like both. They're fine. And honestly, you might want to make the argument that if you're, an iPhone guy, the Apple Watch is the way to go. It's elegant. It's expensive. If you have a Moto X, they make a Moto 360, which is a beautiful watch. And then, of course, there are various other Android watches, all kinds of different designs. It's a nice platform. But I like the Microsoft one the best, and it works with everything. It works basically equally well across Windows, Android, or iOS. It has what I think of as the right mix of functionality. It's not just a fitness wearable, although it does all that stuff and more.
Yeah.
But it also does the things which I think make wearables useful on a kind of a day-to-day basis. If you were to send me a text message or send me an email message, or communicate with me in various ways, depending on how I have it configured, Facebook and Twitter, my arm buzzes. I look down. It says, Andrew has sent you a message. I can read it on the thing. I can respond to it on the thing. If I need to do more, I can bring up my phone. And I think that kind of heads up is very nice because it provides a casual way to keep up on what's important to you because you can configure how it alerts you. And then to get on with your life without having your face in a phone all day long, which I think is a big problem, not just socially, but I think, I don't want to say mentally, but physically / whatever. I think our reliance on technology is crazy. And it's kind of interesting because the band, like any wearable really, allows you to glance and then move on. And so I think I really do think it serves a purpose. I know it's unnecessary.
I think the pricing of the
but
band,
it's nice.
I was going to get the band, but the price point was.
So by the way, I don't know if this is still true, but it was $200 yesterday.
$199. Yeah.
Yeah, normally $250.
Yeah.
I would remind everyone that the Apple Watch starts at $350, and that a good Android watch, $350 is pretty much the price point you're going to be at. And so, in that context, it's not bad. I just find that again, I know it's a weird.
I paid almost I paid $149 for my wife's Jawbone. I think the Up. Because,
oh yeah, you could spend $250 or more on a Fitbit that doesn't do half of what a band does. Now there are benefits to a Fitbit, of course. I mean, and a Jawbone or any of these pure fitness-based wearables because the battery life is much better.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. But I just, for me,
it's also prettier, and that's the other thing, right? When you look at the Jawbone one, the Up, look at it's a piece of jewelry. Yeah, I mean it's catering towards women more than anything else.
It is, but I mean, okay, you can look. I mean,
which one is that?
This is the Band 2. I mean, this is not an ugly device.
No, it's not ugly at all.
Trying to contort myself to turn it on. It's nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if
it does the flip up. It turns on. They just added activity alerts, just like Apple Watch has. It has music playback controls, finally. And so I just think it's I'm surprised more people don't have one.
My wearable, and I'm not talking about a smartwatch. Yeah. This is the wearable that I'm picking. It's the Up 3. But I mean, you could see that who this is marketed towards. It's a pretty design, and it's. Did I get just the white one or that one? I don't know. I think I got it this one. It's $179 here, which is not cheap by any means, but I got it for under $100. I think I paid $129, and then Amazon dropped the price that day, and I got a credit to like under $100 for this device. But this is a piece of jewelry. It's not a piece of technology.
So it's like an Apple product.
It's like an Apple product, but actually prettier, right?
Sure. I
would buy the band. The band, the band is not a problem. It was just $249. I couldn't justify making it an impulse buy for me at $249. At $200, possibly.
Right.
Maybe if it goes down to $149, then yeah, definitely. I think it'll be.
I'll let you know how this goes. I'm gonna say this quietly because who knows who's milling around my home. I try not to buy technology presents for Christmas. However, when I confronted by the $200 price tag on the Band 2, I bought one for my wife for Christmas, and so we'll see. She owned a Nike Fuel Band, and I think she owned a Fitbit as well. So we'll see if she's interested in this. She's she's very active, unlike me. She probably doesn't even need it, but we'll see what her reaction is to this.
Interesting. Yeah. Why don't you pick the next one while I try to get our feed back up? Apparently our feed went down.
Let's see. So I guess we'll move on to set-top box. This is kind of an interesting category, and I bet if we were to look back at last year, our picks would be exactly the same as they were last year.
Most likely.
Yeah, so I picked Roku, and I say that generally because now Roku has, I think, 4 different models. They just came out with the Roku 4, which is pretty expensive, but it does 4K video.
The
I have
Roku
no
4,
use for
yeah.
4K video. But a Roku 2, Roku 3, whatever they're selling now, all for under $100. These are great set-top boxes, and the reason I pick these over the competition, over Apple TV, over Amazon, or whatever, is the performance, which is not necessarily top, but it's good enough, and the compatibility, which is the best. And if you want compatibility with online services, Roku has more channels or apps or whatever you want to call them than any of the services. They also have the best remote, I think, and the simplest interface. And when you go Apple or Amazon, one of the issues you have is that those guys are kind of pushing their stuff on you. Roku has nothing to sell you except for the box, basically. So what this is to my family is a Netflix box. It's a place where I can get my Google Play TV and movie shows on the HDTV without having to use a Chromecast, although that's not a bad solution either. It just, there's lots of things you can do in the living room. I have one of everything in my living room, but I think overall, this is the one that kind of ticks the most boxes for the most people.
Yeah, so I went with the Amazon Fire TV, the updated one.
Yep.
The reason why I like the Amazon Fire is that it's super fast, and
it is the fastest one.
It's the fastest one. By the way, guys, our live stream is back. If you're listening to this live and it hasn't come back, just restart the web page and it'll come back. I like it because it's super fast. They had a great bundle. I think for like $110, you got like the controller, and they've been very aggressive. Developers have been very aggressive, and they've been very aggressive at enticing developers to start developing better apps for their platform. That's the thing that's overall changed over the last year. My biggest complaint was lack of apps, but they're adding more and more to the ecosystem when it comes to set-top boxes. Now, this is something interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we talk about set-top boxes, I get email after email from people telling me, you guys are missing one device that's the best one.
Well, please
and you
be
never talk about
popcorn time. Please be popcorn time. No, what is it?
Yeah, it is the NVIDIA Shield.
Okay.
Do you know anything about the Shield?
Nope.
I mean, I don't either. And it's Android TV. That's what it's called, an Android TV box.
I have nothing against that. I mean, I have the Google Android TV device, whatever that was called.
Yeah, so this has,
that's nice.
It's running Kodi, which is XBMC. You got Plex on there. You got YouTube on there. I don't know how the app system is. You got Netflix. I don't know much about it. And everybody's like, well, you're not talking about it. You're not talking about it. Well, I don't know much about the
I've
Shield.
never even heard of it. It does have, so I'm looking at it, right? It has the Google stuff. I will say it's Android TV. So it has movies and TV, the Google Play version. It has Google Play Music. These are things that are actually pretty hard to get on set-top boxes. So if you're a Google person, this isn't bad. But then, so why would you pick this over a Google Play Nexus or whatever it's called, whatever the thing's called,
Okay,
the Nexus player?
Why is the Shield better? It says it right there. There's actually a thing on the website. So let's look. It's 34 times faster than I guess an original Apple TV. I guess if that's 1x fast, it's 34 times.
Yeah, but driving to a local Blockbuster, renting a DVD, coming home with it is faster than an original gen.
I think they're marketing this towards gaming, Android gaming.
It looks like it.
Quad-core 64-bit processor, 3 gigs of memory, comes with...
It's expensive. I mean,
storage is 16 gigs of storage, or up to 500 gigs. 10x... What does this mean? 10x gigabit Ethernet. Why? What is a 10x?
I don't know.
I guess that is gigabit Ethernet, and most of them are just, 10100.
This, by the way, this looks fine. It looks very sleek.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just expensive. I mean, in this business, an Apple TV starts at $150. It's expensive. I want to say that the Roku 4 off the top of my head is probably $120, $129, somewhere in there. It's expensive. And it's part of the reason I just sort of say Roku, because I think for most people, a Roku 3, which is probably $99 normally, on sale probably $79, somewhere in there, is great, for most people. And the Amazon stuff goes on sale all the time. So this seems like an outlier thing. It's not that it's bad. Part. It's just
it has access to, here are the apps, right? Netflix, all the standards, right?
Yeah.
but it has Google Music and Google Movies.
Yeah.
And it has Kodi, and you can install on
Is it Cody? Or
Kodi is now XBMC. Yeah, Kodi.
I thought it was Kobe for some reason. Okay.
KODI.
Yep.
So it's just really beefy. If you want to play a game on this thing, you're gonna get good performance. But
Sure.
there really isn't much of a major performance difference between the new Fire or this, in my opinion. The new Fire TV has, I mean, they're both quad core, 64-bit processors.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it does say okay. So this supports 4K. By the way, one of the big differences between the Roku and the Amazon for 4K is that the Roku does 60 frames a second, whereas I think the Amazon is limited to 30.
So for 4K, okay, so
If that's a concern.
okay, yeah, okay, so that is something interesting. The Shield does 4K 60 Ultra HD and 1080p. Fire does 4K 30 Ultra HD, and then Roku 4 does 60 frames.
Right.
Which
No, I mean,
and then cloud gaming, it does 1080. I think this is built more for someone that wants a little bit more horsepower, and it has NVIDIA GPU, so you're going to be able to have better performance for gaming. I'm curious on what games are available on this thing.
right. I'm sort of not, to be honest, because the gaming aspects of these set-top boxes to me have never really come together. I just don't see that being a big draw.
It's funny. And I'm one of these people that keeps screaming about it. The game, that gaming on these things should become a big deal. I'm really, really curious, and we'll save this for the prediction show, what Apple does this year with their Apple TV.
For gaming.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you look at the store in the Apple TV, they are pushing games, but they're just, kind of garbagey mobile looking games. I mean, I don't really see that. I just don't see it taking off. It's never worked. Roku has tried this. Amazon tries it. Amazon sells an Xbox style controller you can buy for the Fire TV, which I have. I never use it. It's not particularly interesting.
$179. I mean, for this thing.
Yeah,
$179. It's up there with the Apple TV. It's not that crazy expensive, and it comes with the controller.
Yeah.
So if this is something, if you're looking to game on these platforms, you know what? These people that have the Shield, you guys may be right. I would like to try one, actually. Maybe I should contact NVIDIA's PR and see if they want to send one over so I could try it.
Yeah.
Because I did not even consider this as a major contender until all the emails started coming in.
I still don't think it's a major contender. I think it's kind of a niche-y kind of thing over on the side.
It is, but that's the great part about this, right? That we have that option.
Yes. Well, right. And like if you're an Android guy, and this is a 4K Android TV or whatever they're calling it, that's great. So.
Well, you know what it is? Yesterday I had the discussion. I posted a couple days ago. I've been doing these Amazon deals whenever they're coming up, and I'm posting it on on the What the Tech Twitter, on the GFQ Twitter, and they had a deal for $110. You could get the new Fire TV with the controller.
Yep.
And I thought that's a pretty good deal. You're going to spend $100 on this thing anyway. Now for $10 more, you're getting the controller. And someone goes, well, why wouldn't you just buy an Xbox? And I go, well, because an Xbox is $300 and this is $100. It's apples and oranges. You're not even comparing apples and oranges. You're comparing, microchips and cups. It's a pricing reason.
An Xbox 360 can be had very cheaply.
Paul, you know what I want? I want to sell I have an original Xbox on day one that works. I wonder if I could get any money for that thing. Think? I think it's. I have the only one
sure
left.
You could, but
I think I have the only one left on this planet that still works.
Look, all I'm saying is, for less than the price of this thing, you can get an Xbox 360 with 4 gigs of storage.
Yeah. So that's
if games are a concern.
Yeah, listen, it's an interesting device. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm all for trying this because, again, we'll save this for a prediction show. I predict that gaming on these type of set-top boxes will become a thing this year.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
I predict you're wrong. I predict you don't know what you're talking about.
Let's do this, Paul. Your set-top box, obviously Roku. Mine was Amazon Fire TV. Mm-hmm. I didn't do Apple TV because it's too new.
No. It's not very good, actually.
Now, you have something on here for the home. I have two things for the home. One, John on our website wrote a scathing review about how this thing was horrible.
Which thing?
Which is the Ring doorbell.
Oh, okay.
John wrote a review. We posted this on our website a couple months ago.
But you've added it to your list.
I have it on my list, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I used one, and it felt cheap to me, the one that I had initially used.
Yeah.
And John told me about his experience, and it did not feel good at all. And it was actually very disappointing. The problems that he had, the quality was bad. The casing would break, and he actually called tech support, and tech support told him that, oh yeah, that's a common thing. Just like modify the casing, it'll work. Like that's not the answer you should be given, on a product that's supposed to work.
Right.
I used one. My friend has one, and he had, I don't know if there's like a higher quality one or they've revised it since he had one. I was very impressed by this thing. It looked great. They're not an advertiser of ours at all. I know they're taking ads with some people. I know that they're advertising on podcasts. They're not advertising on this podcast, so I just want to put the disclaimer out there. The functionality, like the doorbell thing, was awesome. It was just, I felt one that was really cheap, and I felt one that was really well done. I don't know if they've updated since the first one, the second one that I used, but I have to tell you, this is actually a really cool thing to see people at your door. It's called the Ring. And by the way, I know there's a lot of reviews out there for this thing. A lot of websites out of nowhere started reviewing. Have you used one, Paul?
No, not yet. I actually did get one. They advertised on Windows Weekly, so they sent us one.
Okay,
I have not tried it yet.
I tried it 3 days ago, and I was very impressed by it. It felt and looked really good. So I'm just putting it out there. I don't. It brings you some sort of security, and I actually saw it in HD on a phone, and I was stunned how good the quality was. So there have been differences in the version. Maybe they've corrected some of these problems, but it's a cool looking device. I mean, if I don't have access to my door, I can't see who's ringing my door until I look, and I actually have to look out the window to see who's looking. Someone like me, this is great. For other people that could actually, peek their head out from a window across and see who it is, I don't know if it's that necessary, but I think this is a cool device. And the fact that you could have it record is a cool part. I would love to get your opinion on it.
Plus, if you get one of those people that steals a package off of your front porch, which I guess is a thing now.
It's a huge thing.
You can at least have a video of it.
Hang on, just walked in. Is that a cake? The school got Jess a cake.
Nice.
Yeah. You're pregnant. Have a cake.
Yeah.
So the Ring was on my list, and the other one is the Amazon Echo.
Right.
I thought this thing was gimmicky until I actually used it. I was like, this thing is awesome. I think it's pretty cool.
The Echo has turned into the new TiVo.
Yeah.
The people who own these things love them, and they can't stop talking about it.
I used it for a short period. I mean, and it's getting smarter and smarter with the Echo. Like the thing is
just like a child.
It's like a child. It's just getting even more intelligent, and you're able to do your home automation with it. I think it's a cool pick this year. I'm curious to see next year in the next version how this thing grows. But those were my two at-home picks. I was gonna pick a home automation kit, and I did some research on it, and I thought it was really cool because I know someone that has one. And then I started reading the reviews, and they were horrible. So I don't want to name the company because I don't have any firsthand experience with it, and I don't want to say this company's horrible. But it was like a really back and forth. It was a really back and forth, thing with this. So I'm gonna hold off, and maybe I'll talk about it next week after I do some more homework. Oh, SmartThings, that was another one. SmartThings is a cool is a cool company.
SmartThings.
Yeah, so it's that home automation kit. I don't remember. Was it SmartThings? Wait a minute. Was it SmartThings that I saw bad stuff about? I don't know. I don't know if it was. I don't know. But we'll save that for next time. So you shocked me in this category.
Oh, this was what shocked you.
This is what shocked me.
Okay.
Best home tech overall, you picked the Chromecast and the Chromecast Audio.
Yep.
this is a very different Paul. You're not the man I knew once.
I've changed.
Who
man.
have you become?
Yep.
Why'd you put these?
Why?
On? Why?
What is your freaking problem? So, you know, my initial reaction to Chromecast over a year ago was not super positive, but I've kept one around. I used the original one out in the living room for a while, and I got the new ones when they came out a couple months
It's
ago.
like it looks like the Beats headsets now. These
Yeah,
things.
actually, I have one here because I had to unplug it from the speakers.
I was gonna buy one after
they're
I saw
little-
you wrote it.
Yeah, they're really kind of. This is the audio version.
Oh, so cute.
And it comes with everything you need. You know, it's got the power and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, as originally envisioned, you know, the product, and I should say, this is primarily about Chromecast audio. Chromecast is great; it works fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I think the deal is this. You know, we live in this kind of world of plenty. I just referenced the fact that I have every single set-top box ever made sitting in my living room, and that's all very well and good. But I'm a tech reporter. And if I wasn't, you know, what would I really have? You know, out there, I'd probably actually have a Roku. But,
Probably have Roku and call it a day. You'd be
maybe.
You'd
But,
have
you know,
if
no,
you
but I have
weren't
Sonos.
a reporter, you would be on your MacBook,
Yeah.
put your feet up with your Beats headphones, and you would
Yeah.
have a Roku, and you'd be happy as a clam.
Maybe. Who can say? But I would have less stuff. I can tell you that. And I think for the reality for most people is that they have less stuff. And I think, you know, we talked earlier about the Amazon Fire tablets, like the Fire HD 8, you know, which is very inexpensive compared to an iPad, and the issues I have with Apple pricing and the expensive Apple products and solutions and so on. I think Chromecast hits at a really nice place because the vast majority of people in the world who own these things have an Android device or they have an iPhone. And in both cases, those things work wonderfully with Chromecast and Chromecast audio. So even, you know, on iOS, like the Spotify app works just fine with these things. It works fine. They're so cheap, $35 a piece, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding? And so the thing that put Chromecast audio over the top for me was a new feature that just rolled out this week. In fact, there were a couple of new features, but the one for me was multi-room audio. And so I can put a Chromecast audio here in my office, which I did, on my beautiful studio monitors.
Okay, so
I
you
can
get
put them out.
so that's the separate Chromecast, not because the Chromecast doesn't do the audio, right?
What now?
It's two separate devices. A Chromecast cannot do.
A Chromecast can work with just an audio app, but a Chromecast cannot participate in a multi-room setup with
Okay.
Chromecast audio, if that makes sense.
That makes
But you
total
get
sense.
so I have 3 Chromecast audios. Right now, like I said, I took one off of one set of speakers, but I've got the one in here, living room, and then out in the kitchen.
So what are you plugged into? Like the TV, right?
Well, a set of speakers. It could be the TV.
Set of speakers,
in the
TV. Okay.
in the kitchen, it's a single Tivoli speaker. In my office, it's a set of speakers. And you set them up as a group. It's the home group, what you can call it, whatever
Yeah.
you want, but it's like the Throw at Home, whatever it is. You can target audio playback on any one of the speaker sets, of course, or you can say, I want it to go to all of them. And I tried this yesterday with Christmas music, and I walked around the house just to kind of get between the listening zones so I could kind of equally hear from each one and make sure they were lined up, and they
Yeah.
were. And they have software. If they're off a bit, you can micromanage it if you
Okay.
want.
That's
But for
interesting. So it's a
35 bucks
Sonos.
a piece.
It's a
Right.
Sonos. So instead
The
of spending about
cheapest
$2,000,
right. The cheapest Sonos is a single speaker that I think costs $300 or $350. You have to use Sonos's software, which is fine. You know, it works fine, and it works with most services. Just today, they rolled out the Apple TV support. I'm sorry, the Apple Music support in beta. I don't mind using it, but the ability to do this stuff inexpensively is what puts it over the top. So I, as a upper middle class American white male, can buy a Sonos, and aren't I lucky to be in that economic situation? But you know, for most
you have
people,
privilege.
yeah, it's really I float on a carpet above the earth.
I thought that was what I did.
Yeah, that's what we all do. But you know, but seriously, for most people,
Yeah.
this does that job for so much less.
Yeah.
You have to buy speakers, right? But these studio monitors I have were $100, and so for $135, I have the equivalent of approximately $600 worth of Sonos equipment. That is the type of technology that makes me excited. It's the type of thing that is the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. I love this kind of stuff when it all comes together. If there are people, obviously, if you're in the Windows world, you're sort of screwed. I mean, I haven't tried it yet. Obviously, or maybe not obviously, there's a Google Chromecast plugin for Chrome. And so if you have a Chrome web browser on a Windows PC or tablet, you can cast to the audio group. It works. I can see it right now in my browser. Throughout Home, it's called. So that works. I haven't tried it yet from the browser. If you're on Windows Phone, you're kind of screwed. I'm sure there's some kind of third-party
Actually,
app.
I'm thinking about that. How many times have I had a party where music is playing in the living room and people go into the kitchen and they're hanging out in the kitchen or they're going outside and it's like it's all different things, or one has Pandora
it's loud
on.
over here, it's not over here.
That's actually
look, I'm not saying this is a day-to-day thing for most people, but for most people, for most of the time, a single Chromecast or Chromecast audio is actually all the set-top box that you need.
Yeah.
Because you can have Netflix and Hulu and whatever, Google Play, whatever on your phone, and if you want to get it up to the HDTV, a Chromecast will do it.
So here's my gripe with Chromecast, and it just, for me, it never worked well. It was an impulse buy. I know for a lot of people, it still is an impulse buy. But for $30, it just, let's say I'm playing something and I get the little tab, and right now I have it. I could Chromecast this right now. When I would Chromecast, let's say a video, my CPU on this computer shoots up all the way, and the video is now stuttery. And I'm using an i7.
All right. Well, look. I've used this thing with phones, and
on phones it's a lot better.
It's a million times better. I'm throwing the Chrome browser thing out as a bone for Windows users. This is not the way you do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the way you're going to control this is with a phone walking around your house. What I'm saying is 96+% of people who use phones have a phone that works with Chromecast.
Yeah.
Statistically, that's everybody.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry. I'm the Windows guy. I get it. So Windows Phone doesn't work. I'm sorry. The notion that we're out of the picture shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Of course we are. We always are. What I mean is, for most people, most of the time, this is an incrable value.
No, I think it's a very good value. It didn't work for me. I actually wanted to set mine up again to use it because I'm big into wrestling, and there is a company called New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's a Japanese wrestling organization. They have their own network online called New Japan World that you pay them $9 a month or $10 a month, and you get their library and live events. They don't have any apps. There's no apps for this thing, so it's browser only currently. They just added a Chromecast. They added the ability to Chromecast this now, where instead of just Chromecasting the screen, it's Chromecasting the video. So I want to try it out. It's kind of half-assed, and it's not really an app, but it would work better than me, doing this whole convoluted way.
I haven't done a lot of casting from Chrome, but obviously, if you have Windows, or if you have a Mac, or if you have a Chrome book for some reason, it will work. I'm not saying it's great. I have no idea. I don't know if it's in beta or what. I don't know. Who knows? I don't think casting the entire screen from a Chrome web browser is necessarily a great idea, but there are web services that support casting directly, including Google's. And so instead of doing it like directly from the browser, although it really is probably the same thing, but you can access the Google Cast or Chromecast interface directly from within the app.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to try that tonight.
Yeah. Please do it. I bought one of each originally when those came out, whenever that was, back early in the fall. And then when they announced multi-room, I ordered 2 more. You need the latest firmware. It's kind of a goofy thing. Like if you reset the Chromecast, that kind of triggers the update.
Also, I think there are apps, right? Like, can't you do a Chromecast within Roku? Like, Roku has their own version. I think on Amazon Fire, there's like a Chromecast app.
So you
can fake it into thinking it's a Chromecast, but I don't know. I've never used it.
I believe I'm going off the top of my head because it's not in front of me, but I think the Netflix app in the Amazon store actually just has a Chromecast button right in it, so it just works.
Interesting.
So the app itself just has it. It's Android. There's no reason they couldn't.
Yeah.
Obviously, maybe not obviously, but I should note that Amazon Fire TV, Fire TV Stick, and Roku Stick I'll support Miracast as well, and that's another way to cast content from one device to the other. But again, these things are $35 a piece. They just work. Audio does multi-room. You can't mix regular Chromecast and Chromecast audio for multi-room for some reason, but whatever. It's amazing. I'm sorry. It's $35. I mean, it's crazy. This is such a great bar. This is what I'm all about.
Hey, I got a question for you.
I wish I worked with Microsoft.
I have a question for you before we wrap it up. The TV in my living room has like unlimited HDMI, so it's not a problem there. Okay. But in my bedroom, I only have 2 HDMIs on there. Okay. And I have one is just going directly to my cable box, and the other one is going through an HDMI switcher. Yep. I need a better system. I need a better way to manage this switching because every
HDMI
time
switches are tough.
So right now, the way that I do it, like I have my Roku plugged in there. I'm sorry, I have my my Apple TV plugged in there. I also have a Fire TV plugged in there, and I have my PlayStation, and I have my Chromecast plugged in there. Every time I need to switch, I have to get up and press the button on this thing.
Yeah.
Can't I?
You need another remote. It's almost like you need a HDMI switcher with a remote.
Yeah, so they come with remotes, but they don't work.
I had one of those years ago.
They come with remotes and they don't work. I wonder if I could just set it up. Now that I'm thinking this out loud, I wonder if I could set it up because
or something.
No, this has an IR blaster on it. This phone. So okay. I wonder if I could just use this as the remote to change it. Yeah. One or two. Is there one that has like Wi-Fi support that you could change it via Wi-Fi? Like it has like an app and you could just do it manually like that.
I've not used one of those in a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure someone in the chat room is going to suggest one. I just need one that is a little bit more advanced on like the dummy, like go up and hit AV1 or AV2, you know? You know what? Maybe I could figure something. I could rig it because that's the biggest pain in the butt for me to get up and like, switch to the Roku or switch to whatever. That's why I just leave it on one. So we are running out of time, guys. But if you're watching live, stay tuned because I'm gonna go on a rant in a couple minutes because of Paul. Paul made me buy something, and I thought it was gonna be good, and it wasn't. It was a piece of garbage.
Wow, this day's not. It's just not working out the way I wanted it to.
We're going to talk about that. Guys, thanks for watching. Again, unbelievable year. We're going to continue this, obviously, if you're watching live. If you're not watching live, you can watch our bonus show. We recorded live each and every week, exclusively on patreon.com/whatthetech. If you go to patreon.com/whatthetech, you could access the shows there. You could fund us. Whatever you want to do, you want to fund us $0.25, you want to fund us $1, you want to do $5, whatever, helps us out, makes us, we have our live stream is now free because of you guys. We got to pay for that. It's not cheap. It went down today, but it's not, and no more ads when you're watching live. So it's things like that kind of go back into it. Also, you want to help us out, use our Amazon link, gfq.co/Amazon, bookmark it. Whenever you buy something on Amazon, we get a tiny little credit. I have to buy upgrades. I just bought this. Out of all things, I bought this for Windows Weekly.
Well, sure.
With our Amazon link. So I bought this for tomorrow's show that Paul's going to be doing live from New York, from the Microsoft store. So, which we'll talk about on the bonus show. So I just want to thank everybody. Of course, thank Casper for supporting the show. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarin. You can follow Paul at The Rot. Yes. Ustream and Dailymotion will have ads because it is not our ad-free stream, and I don't pay them. I pay another company. Paul, anything coming up? Anything you want to plug?
Well, as you know, Andrew, tomorrow we're going to be at the Microsoft flagship store in New York City to do Windows Weekly Live. And if I'm lucky, that's going to be it for the year.
And no more New York.
I hope so.
Well, there's a good possibility the next couple of weeks I am on call, Paul. So the baby is due in 10 days.
Yep, which means anytime.
So we'll see what happens. If maybe there's a good chance that next week we're doing the show and there's a little baby. Baby Zarian is here.
Yep. Baby Z.
Yeah, and I'm instead of saying like, "Hey guys, use our Amazon link. I got to buy microphones." It's going to be, "Hey, use our Amazon link. I got to buy diapers. I got to buy a lot of diapers." All right, guys. If you're watching live, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about stuff. See y'all next week.